Well, I got into my first 911 in 1986, and I started fixing it up. I found out that for under $5,000 back then, I made my car almost 500 horsepower. And when I finished it, a friend of mine saw it, fell in love with it, and bought it from me. And I made a little money on the car and put the money into another one and did the same thing. Fixed it up and ended up selling it again. And I just kept moving up over the years and started my own shop in 1987, and I've been doing it ever since. Porsche is superior to any other car because they started off making a race car from day one, just mainly for that reason. I can do so many changes to this car with strict bolt-on stuff. I don't have to take the whole motor apart and do any type of changes, and they're just a lot of fun to race. I mean, they accelerate, they out-accelerate most cars. Some of these cars like this one I'm leaning up against will do 0 to 60 in pretty much under 3 seconds or 3 seconds flat, and there's very few cars in the world that can do that.
Don't try this at home, guys.
Up into the 700 horsepower range, and there's very, very few street cars that can run 700 horsepower and be reliable. And we do it every day here. We make 700 horsepower cars that you can drive to and from work, drive it to the racetrack, put some race tires on it, go have a blast over the weekend, and come home and take it and go get groceries with it. I love to go out there and race the Japanese cars because they're usually a lot heavier, a lot less horsepower, so we have a huge advantage over them. Ferraris handle very well on the track, but again, under horsepower, so we usually don't have any problems with the Ferraris either. There's really nothing that can take a 911 turbo. We actually put in boost pressure sensors that modify boost pressure, and what that does is, you can see this line right here, it actually sprays methanol and water into the motor. The stock air box here is just this section is the only place where it breathes air from. What we do is we modify the other side of the airbox as well, so that way we get twice the amount of air into the airbox. Over here we have 2 air diverter valves, and the factory ones are made out of plastic and they flutter. So what we've done is we've changed these to a billet aluminum diverter valves. And every time you shift and you let off the throttle, those open up, blows the air back into the intake, which allows it to be reused again and sucked back into the motor, so it's no loss of any air. A lot of the Japanese tuners, they just blow it out to the atmosphere and they waste all that air.
Virgil started with me about 4 years ago. He's the guy that we lean towards for doing all of our engine modifications. He does the clutches, all the high-performance turbos, headers, methanol injection, exhaust systems, and I have different mechanics that do the suspension and bodywork. But Virgil's the main guy that we lean towards to do all the engine performance upgrades.
Back in 1988, I purchased a Mazda RX-2. I got hardcore into it and I've been into cars ever since. Okay, what I have here are a pair of turbos off the 993 that are factory stocked. These little babies right here makes this car fun. This right here is what we call Monster. This is a full ball bearing race turbo that for a few people who are out there, this is the way to go. This turbo right here will support 800 or better, depending on what mods you've done to your motor. This car should have absolutely no problems exceeding 200 miles an hour. It should also be able to run from a 1120 to 1090 index in a quarter mile at over 130 miles an hour. Basically, all these technical specs means that you haul and it's not much anyone else can do when they line up next to you.
Racing's all about winning. Second place, no one ever brags about being in second place. Second place is just the first place loser in my book. 700's the magic number right now. As of today, 700 horsepower is not breaking these motors, and we're going to keep going until we start blowing these things up. And it's no fun blowing up a $50,000 engine, but we will grenade some of these motors to do it.
I just believe that you can take it apart, you can put it back together. If you have any kind of passion for the sport of going fast, this is what you should be doing right here, right now.